What's going on, people? Good morning and welcome to United View. Welcome to your match preview between Leeds United and Manchester United in tomorrow's massive game at Elland Road. Massive, massive, massive. It's a derby. It's a rivalry game. And Leeds, I tell you what, Leeds will fancy this. Let's just say it.
Yep.
Let's just say it as it is. We can say it's rubbish, Leeds, and now they're at the bottom of the table and they still ain't got a manager yet and all of this stuff. We can say all that. But listen, football's played on the pitch, and it with 11 against 11 most of the time. And, you know, yeah, because we unfortunately are not in that, you know. But, yeah, Casemiro, you know. But they will fancy it, man. They will fancy it. So smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Happy morning to you. What?
It's an early start. It's an early start for you this morning. That's why as well.
Early start, mate. Let me, just, you know what I mean? Let me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, right, straight into this. Leeds versus Man United. We saw in the presser yesterday that what Eric Ten Hag had to say about a lot of stuff. We also saw that Martial is obviously not back, which we probably knew was going to happen. But I don't want to say more importantly, but more significantly, because we already knew the Martial thing, is that, and there's no Anthony as well. So I think we have to start there of what do you do? He took off Garnacho against Leeds, where, you know, we've seen some criticising him and really overstepping the mark and just being idiots. But also he kind of faded, and, you know, the end product, and Eric Ten Hag did speak about that. Jadon Sancho is back and looking like he's ready to start a game. And now there's no Anthony, and Garnacho got taken off. And you know Eric Ten Hag don't want him in too big of an atmosphere. Don't come much bigger than Leeds away, does it? So is it, what would you do? What would you do with that front line? Weghorst, you know, Rashford went up front, did well. What would you do?
Well, I think it's worth pointing out with Sancho in the week is that he might have started had he not been ill over the weekend. That was one thing that was pointed out by Ten Hag, is that he was ill over the weekend, so he was only on the bench. Wan-Bissaka was also ill, that's why he wasn't in the squad. Chances are Wan-Bissaka will be back for the weekend, and that's going to be interesting. Certainly a decision he makes for the entirety of that right-hand side. He did mention it in the press conference. He said, look, that right-hand side, we'd had a bit of cohesion built up in that, and now obviously that's still going to change because Anthony's not available. So you'd ask me what I would do. There's kind of two schools of thought, isn't there? There's the one school of thought in that he could start how he finished against Leeds, which could be Rashford through the middle, could be Sancho on the left, and then a bit of a surprise when it comes to right-hand side, whether it is Facundo, maybe. I'm not sure whether he then decides, actually, you know what, let's see what happens if we play Garnacho on the right-hand side.
There's no chance
that is less likely.
I
think that's less likely. What I think he will do is I think he'll go with Weghorst through the middle again. I think he'll have Rashford on the left. I think he'll probably have Sancho on the right and Bruno through the middle. But I wouldn't either be shocked if Bruno starts on the right and Sancho goes through the middle as the number 10. I wouldn't be shocked because we did see that against Forest. I think those are kind of the options. I think with Weghorst briefly is that I saw some criticism towards him after the game in midweek, and yeah, like everyone else, he didn't have a good game. But I think also a lot of the blame I felt was shifted onto him unfairly because you had a situation whereby first time ever that midfield's played together. So the creativity from that midfield that you would get from two really creative players, i.e. Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, non-existent. Right? Then you had Marcus Rashford on the right-hand side. Hasn't played there a lot this season. And Diogo Dalot was on that right-hand side as well. He was just coming back from injury. If Wan-Bissaka was available, he might not have played that game. The first time a cross came into the box against Leeds was for Rashford's header in the second half. Weghorst really didn't have a ton of service in that first half. So I think it's unfair to say, oh, we played so much better because Weghorst came off the pitch. I think in reality, it's a combination of some other factors, i.e., yes, Weghorst came off, but also so did Garnacho. Yes, Jadon Sancho came on. Marcus Rashford was in a more familiar position. Like it synced up better, but I don't think that's just because Weghorst came
because
on.
Marcus Rashford was on the left. Marcus Rashford was on the left in the second half. When we started the second half and conceded straight away, we had Rashford on the left, Weghorst up front, and all he done was swap the wingers by that point. That's all he'd done. So, yeah, that notion that we only got good because, look, it's easy because Marcus is going to take the plaudits and the headlines because, you know, the cross comes in and he scores a fantastic header, wicked header.
Yeah.
And rightly so, he gets praise for that. But that doesn't mean that if we up the ante and created that situation for Weghorst that he wouldn't have scored that. It doesn't mean that. You know what I mean?
Not to if Weghorst starts on Sunday tomorrow, then yeah, we're definitely going to lose. No, I don't think. I think it's just as important picking those players on either flank to have a more cohesive style of play.
I think the problem we've got obviously is the right-hand side. It's not even the amount of players; it's who can play there and play there properly in this type of game.
Exactly
in this game, and then which actually is even a bigger problem, really, is the central midfield situation. But that's like we just know it's that we've got Fred and Sabitzer, and that's all we've got. Unless, to be fair, you're looking at different things. I mean, you spoke about it. Lindelof came on for 15 minutes. That means, I'm telling you now, those things don't happen where, quick, Lindelof, can you just quickly go play 10 minutes in midfield? Do you reckon you can? That means that in training during that week, especially with how meticulous Erik ten Hag is, my opinion is that Lindelof would have been working on that. He would have been told, in my opinion, that during that Leeds game, so Marcel's only come in for, not Marcel, Sabitzer's only been here a little while, hasn't played 90 minutes in a couple of weeks. High intensity game against Leeds. Depending on how it's going, I'm probably going to need you to play centre mid for like 10, 15. And that's exactly what happened. And then in the patterns of play during training or whatever, when it's attack against defence or whatever, Lindelof wouldn't have been up against a forward as a centre back. He would have been playing as an attacker with the ball, I think. So that isn't by accident. Erik ten Hag doesn't do by accident or just quickly put Lindelof there because I had to. That would have been worked on. So, we could be overthinking this, but could he do something we really don't expect and go, Lindelof, Fred and Sabitzer to shore it up and then put Bruno on the right, Rashford up front and Bruno up front, Weghorst and Rashford. Bruno, Rashford, Sancho. I doubt that. I doubt that massively, but there's so much wrong. Also, there's so much issues that there's options. Those are the options that we have. They're extreme options because we don't have another like for like. I think what he will do is go. Would he drop Weghorst for this? I think you. I don't think Pellistri will start there, and I definitely don't think Garnacho's starting out on the right. No chance. And I think after Rashford starting on the right against Leeds the first time, and it wasn't impressive, was it? The only saving grace for that might be that he goes, "I'll give you another try on the right, Rashi, only because we've got Jadon coming back now, and that will help us be more fluid." But Sancho's more likened to the right hand side.
If you were going to do that, if you were going to say, "Well, we've got Jadon back now," wouldn't you go, "Well, we've got Jadon back, you can play on the right," because Rashford, you're better on the left. You've been so informed. To me, it seems illogical to have a player that's so informed, the most informed player in the league, and you're playing him in a less favourable role to accommodate other players. You play the player where he's playing his best at the moment. That is the left, and that is through the middle as a striker. I just feel like, we saw him pre-season as well. We saw Sancho was on the right-hand side. And he might go there. Or, as I mentioned, you talked about Ten Hag doesn't do things by accident. Against Forest, he played Sancho as a 10 and Bruno was on the right. And he might feel like, actually, you know what? Bruno, he might put the work in.
The only reason why I don't think he'll do that in this game is because it's Leeds away. Because if you're putting Sancho in as a 10, effectively what you're saying is, okay, yeah, it's great when we've got the ball. When we don't have the ball, it's a different type of engine and intensity that you need to be in the center of the park, away to Leeds. And I feel like Sancho was obviously a winger. That's his main position, whether it's left or right. Putting in that sort of intensity in terms of playing on the wing. Well, he was man of the match last year, wasn't he? He was brilliant on the left or the right, wherever it was.
What engine's more important? What engine's more important, do you think? Do you think it's more important to have Bruno's engine as the 10 being defensive going backward, or on the right-hand side going backward to support the fullback, depending on who that might be? Because either one might be struggling. Yeah, either one might be struggling a little bit. Because,
I think to answer your question,
come back. Go ahead.
I think to answer your question, it's more important for this game to have it in midfield. And the reason why I say that is because we've got Fred and Sabitzer, and they are not a unit. Like if you had Christian Eriksen and Casemiro, who are used to playing with each other, and that's our strongest pairing, I'm saying, all right, cool. Sancho can come in a bit. Yeah, all right, fine. But I think when it's already, broken there when you've got two players who don't really know each other, clearly. One's coming off the back of a bad performance. One's coming off the back of just being new to the team. And it's Leeds away, and you're going to have Weston McKennie in there with Tyler Adams again, running around like blue ass flies. It will be hectic in there. Jack Harrison just ahead of them, on the turn, in the 10, sorry, maybe. I just feel like that will be a big test for us, and I think he will need Bruno in there. Even though people were criticizing Bruno, maybe saying he didn't play like this, we didn't play like that, but I think in a game like this, we need him in the 10, because when we don't have the ball, I think the extra instruction could be after, especially how we played in midweek and we saw what we were like in midfield. It isn't enough, in my opinion, to just say Fred and Sabitzer just got to play better. They need help.
No,
they need help.
Yeah,
and Bruno's the one who can naturally offer that help better than Sancho in that position, I think.
Yeah,
and it's just coming back.
It was porous, as I would say, for the midfield. There was gaps. There was gaps that they could go through. And I haven't seen the defense look that vulnerable for a while. They just looked exposed, and everything was kind of last ditch because it was so easy to go through. Are we saying then that this is off the table? Garnacho on the left, Rashford through the middle.
Garnacho ain't starting.
Sancho on the right, and Bruno in the 10. Are we saying that's not going to happen?
I think this is my opinion. Obviously, it's my opinion. None of us know.
Yes.
I think there is no chance.
Lying. You know the team, don't you?
Yeah,
exactly.
I would say, and I will stand to be corrected, and I will say, wow, I did not see that coming. But I think there is no chance.
Which we've said several times.
Which we've said several times this season. Which can always happen, but I think there's no chance Garnacho starts.
Yeah, I think the most likely one is Rashford, Weghorst, Sancho, Bruno. I think because
you know what it is? Yeah, because you know what I think? I think he wants to keep the senior... Where he can keep the senior pros or the more experienced players playing and starting, he does it. I think against Leeds just gone, there was no Anthony, who's experienced, even though he's young, and there was no Martial, and there was no Jadon Sancho available from the start because he was ill. So that forced his hand. He had to pick Pellistri or Garnacho, and Garnacho's ahead of Pellistri. Yeah. That made sense,
And make no mistake as well, at Ellen Road, the atmosphere we know it's going to be like, with Weghorst, you need a bit of a bastard. You're going to need it.
You need someone who's going to be able to handle tough tackles, like you said, be a bit of a bastard, win fouls, compete in the air. And I'm not saying it's perfect with Weghorst playing, and he still knew himself, but I would feel more comfortable. I would feel more comfortable with Rashford, Weghorst, Sancho than I would with Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford. And I could be overthinking it. That might even be Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford. That might even be the front three. Who knows? I mean, he might just go all out pace and say, this is Leeds, we can do him. It sounds very exciting. I know what you're going to say. No,
you don't know what I'm going to say. You don't know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say something different. What I was going to say is, look back to this fixture last season. Who was really the player that was actually got a goal and actually shushed the crowd at the end of that
Anthony.
It was Anthony Elanga. And I'm not saying that he should start. I'm saying that was a player that we would have said, tell you what, throwing him at the deep end, Ellen Road. And the atmosphere, you were there last season, was up. And he thrived under it. So we say with Garnacho, Pellistri, too much for him. It worked for him last season.
Very true. And then I will throw this in there. Look at the state of last season and what last season was. And ideally, how many times did we say that our young players, as much as the side of positivity is, imagine Garnacho scoring at Ellen Road and shushing oh my God, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But think of how meticulous our manager is at managing expectation, egos, characteristics, emotions, off the back of as well a dodgy game at Old Trafford against this very same Leeds side, who are going to be, now they have no manager still, are going to be a different kettle of fish versus Ralph Rangnick going there when Elanga was, there was no Rashford last season.
I agree. There.
I agree. So I see what you're saying, but I think to counter that point, I don't think he'll do it. I don't think he'll do it.
I don't think he will. But at the same time, and this is how wild Ten Hag is sometimes, is in the same vein, if he did start Garnacho, I'd go, that's bold, but that's just what he does.
I wouldn't be like, why has he done that? He's not gonna cope with this. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah,
I would be surprised.
But I think the most likely outcome is Rashford, Bruno, Sancho, and Weghorst. Right back, if
just about to say that.
Available. Who
What are you
plays?
saying?
Who plays? I asked you first.
Do you know what, Owen? I was thinking in my head something really mad, you know. And I was
Wan-Bissaka's
like,
#1 right back. Is that what you're thinking? I've asked the question a lot recently.
Bro, do you know what it is, yeah? And Tenar's got a difficult decision to make because if you ever want Dalot to get back to his level, you've got to keep playing him. You know, you can't be too critical of Dalot against Leeds the other day because he was coming back from injury and he looked a bit rusty.
He wouldn't
But
have played.
he put it.
He wouldn't have played.
No, he wouldn't have played. And he put it on a sixpence for Rashford, by the way. First time ball. A couple of other ones went wide. They were poor balls. You know, I'm just picking up the good bits. And he did look a bit rusty. Do you want the guy who's on his way back to fitness playing away at Ellen Road, where you got to win your one-on-one battles, you got to clamp people, make sure they do not get past? And that, what's his name? Nonto?
Yeah.
How'd you say it?
Yeah. He's rapid. He's
rapid. And
Wan-Bissaka's quick.
Is good. Yeah. And he's good. He's a good player. And he's only 19, him. You know, he's good. And at home, he's going to be even more, you know, on the ball, excitable, you know, confident. Me personally, I'd play Wan-Bissaka in this. If he's fit and ready to go, I'd play him.
I agree.
Dude,
I would play.
When would we say that? I just feel more confident. I just feel more calm with him there. How mad is that? Considering the frantic nature of the game, like I just feel like he'll deal with that better. It's not an
indictment on Dalot. It's more of
he'd start against
what is the situation around? The situation for me with Dalot is just at the moment, this guy is just coming back from a hamstring issue. That's key. A hamstring issue on the way back from one he suffered at the World Cup. That was a while ago now, and he had a relapse. And again, he probably wouldn't have played in the week had Wan-Bissaka not been ill. Exactly. And I just feel like, again, to your point, Ellen Road, quick guy. And again, there's going to be a couple of last-minute tackles needed with that midfield because, again, it's porous. So stuff's going to come through that midfield. And Wan-Bissaka, a bit like when we played Palace, he's just going to be a bit needed, you know, for those sort of last-minute tackles or those individual battles. I remember him against Wilfried Zaha, and Zaha switched the other wing at Selhurst Park because he couldn't get anything out.
Couldn't get no change. And then even then, it was clean through near the end as well. And then, you know, look what Wan-Bissaka did then. And even Zaha said at the end, he goes, why did it have to be him? Obviously, speaking of personal experience because they're mates and that, but I think Nonto, that guy, I think that's how you say his name. He is electric, and if you don't, I'm not making him out to be Mbappe, but if you're not on it away at Ellen Road with the crowd, and we don't manage that, and you don't win your battles early doors or in general, you're asking for trouble. But having said that, though,
slow like we did last time, you start slow at Ellen Road like we did at Old Trafford.
Yeah, you won't just come back. Yeah, you won't just come back.
No.
You know, I know Leeds are rubbish, and that we're saying they're rubbish, and we've said it quite a few times that they're not a good team, and that's why they're in the position they are. They just gave us a little bit of actually when the reins are off and there's not much pressure.
Yeah, just play these kind of games. I know it's cliche, but these kind of games are different. You know, what I mean, it just they are different because of the atmosphere. That's how it works
massively. And here's one for you then, because going forward into the Barcelona game, if they've got, say, Ansu Fati on the left, or is it Pedri, or is it Rafinha, or is it whoever it is going to be? Yeah, Dembele plays on the right.
He's injured. Yeah. He's injured as well.
Oh yeah, he is injured as well, isn't he? But anyway, whoever it is at the Nou Camp away, would you want Dalot, more continental type of football, keep the ball well, play properly, or would you want Wan-Bissaka again to clamp, you know, away from home? Because then if you want Dalot, you're going to put him in cold off of not playing against Leeds. You know, intermittent, and you got to bear that in mind as well. Or is it just we overthink these things and the players are training, they're ready to go, you play when you're called upon, no matter if it's Nou Camp away or Ellen Road, you play?
I'd want Dalot against Barcelona. I think he's better suited to that game. I think you know, that is going to be a game where we're going to need to be more defensively robust, and it's ironic because I'm saying
wouldn't that be Wan-Bissaka?
Yeah, not
just
in that
focus
game.
on that. Just focus on defense.
Yeah, I think in that game, it will be about positioning as well, the defensive unit. What we're talking about here is the defensive individual battle. is the individual. What we're talking with Wan-Bissaka in this game is more of an individual battle. Can you deal with that kind of pace? And I know you would say, well, it's kind of the same with Barcelona, but I feel like more with Barca, the defensive shape and unit as a whole is going to be more important.
You have to be on tactically even more. It's less frantic and more like understanding where players are, where you need to be.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, we agree that we go with Wan-Bissaka. And to finish off, just quickly, do you feel there'll be any surprises in midfield? Considering we've only got 2 fit central midfielders, do you think there could be a surprise in there?
No, I don't
Fred
think so. I would be
again.
really, it's got to be.
Fred's got to play, to be honest with you. Fred's run around the pitch like a man. Fred's got to play. I know he had a stinker, but you know what? Flex jinx and all this. I'm just going to say I'm going to back Fred to put in a decent, to be instrumental for us in trying to get something out of that and trying to win that game. Because one, he's only got, but two, exactly. And he is, if you're looking at the types of games that Fred should be excelling in, it's those frantic games where you need people to be at it, and Sabitzer as well. So yeah, it's going to be tough. It's not our usual midfield, so I think that will hurt us. But essentially, I'm going to back them to put in a good performance. Having said that, prediction time and how I feel about the game, I am very nervous about this game.
It's changed.
I've got a bad feeling about this game. Yeah, I was even half saying it the first one. I remember I spoke to you, and you said something.
Oh yeah, I thought we'd absolutely roll them over at Old Trafford. I'll be honest, I got it massively wrong. I thought we were going to be comfortable. I wasn't worried. I really was not worried.
Both games. You said we'll win both. You said we'll win comfortably both games.
Yeah, because I thought at Old Trafford, I just thought Leeds' record there has been really bad, and we're playing so well. I mean, we were talking about if we'd have won that game, 14 consecutive home wins. It's like that's crazy, and they got no manager as well. But we just didn't show up. This one's going to be a bit more challenging. Although, when I was talking to Kenny after the game midweek, he was saying that he's got a few friends that are Leeds fans, and he was saying actually at home they might struggle a little bit more. So hold my hands up. I'll go. So prediction. You asked me for prediction. I'm going to go with I'm going to say maybe a 2-1. I do think we'll concede, and I think it's going to be really tough. But I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 Manchester United. Football Club PLC.
This one, TM. This one might be
copyright C.
Yeah, a little C thing. Yeah. This one might be one of them back to the other Man United where the Wolves away, the Leicester away, the Southampton away, the 1-0ers, the tight. Do you know what I mean? Or even a draw. I haven't got a good feeling.
That's good.
I don't know.
That's good.
I hate that everyone thinks that as well, but it's genuinely how I feel about this one. I'm really nervous about this one. I know if this was KG, I'd be like, I'm not nervous. It's Leeds. We'll beat them. Yeah,
that's what Haley was saying after the game as well. She said, look, we're getting back at the weekend. No problem.
I would love to. Do you know that type of mentality and thing must be so wicked to have. Just go, don't worry, man. Wait till Sunday, man. Watch. Yeah, I'm actually a really nervous fan. I am a nervous fan.
Yeah.
I am a nervous.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. Even before sometimes off camera flex, like, I don't know about today, man. I don't know. I
say today. It pretty much every game.
And the worst thing is, just when you get to a point where you're like, actually, like going into that game at Old Trafford, you're like, yeah, I think we'll win.
Yeah.
And then the opposite happens, and you go, oh God.
Well, Forest away, I remember saying. As I said to you, I was like, oh, it's tough this, mate. They've been good at home.
I don't know. They've been good at home.
They've been good at home. 3-0. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it is what it is. But let us know what your predictions are. Let us know what your starting lineup would be. Would you go with the team that we've predicted? Do you think Ten Hag will go with that team? Do you think he'll change it up massively? Let us know what you guys think. Let us know how you're feeling about it. And do you think we're going to win the game? Tomorrow is match day. I'll be at studio actually, so I'll be in there. It'll be a full house in there.
Yes.
And there will be lots of reaction afterwards. Hopefully we get the W. We need the W. Come on. Take care, guys. See you again soon. Peace.